Crystal Palace 5, West Ham United 2. This is probably one of the more difficult post-match reviews that I can do, because I'm at a loss as to what to say about this game. We started badly. When you talk about hangovers from European games, this is the massive hangover of all hangovers. When I think about David Moyes and the fact that he's meant to be a defensive-minded coach, and the fact that we actually got drubbed 5-2 by Crystal Palace, it's almost laughable. It makes you sort of wonder where do we go from here, because it was one of the worst performances of the season. I know that West Ham always have a bit of a hangover from Europe, but goodness me, this hangover, this has been like the worst ever. Look, let's take nothing away from Crystal Palace. Not that they had to try hard, but every time they had an attack, they looked like they were going to score. And the first half hour of this game, going 4-0 down, was quite telling. Made 3 changes to the lineup against Leverkusen at the last Thursday. Ogbonna retained his place after coming on for an injured. Gerd, Emerson and Paqueta were back from suspension, but you wouldn't have thought that was going to strengthen our squad in any way. Emerson came in for Creswell. Paqueta came in for Bowen, who didn't even make the bench today. Shows the extent of his injury and how much of a fantastic performance he put in last Thursday night. But it didn't matter what changes we were going to make, what lineup we had. We looked like the players looked like they were already on holiday. It looked like they'd given up after Thursday. I know Thursday took, we had a superb performance on Thursday, and I know that kind of took it out of us quite a bit. But goodness me, how poor were we today? We weren't at the races whatsoever. We started slowly. We allowed them to get into it. We allowed them to dictate the game. Elise and Eze basically sort of ran the show, to be quite honest with you. And we didn't have an answer. Every time they came forward, it looked like they were likely to score. And we suffered for it. Being 4-0 down in half an hour was just mind-numbing, really. The one thing I know, a lot of fans were saying today during the game that they're not playing for David Moyes. I don't know anymore. I genuinely, I'm not going to stand up for Moyes, but I genuinely don't know what the answer is. Were they playing for Moyes? Were they tired? Yeah, Thursday took it out of us, but you expected after the performance we put in last Thursday, you expected West Ham United to come out and continue that in some way. No, all right, not to the level that we performed against Leverkusen in the first half, but we thought we were going to give Palace a game today and really push for that place in Europe. This is really, I know there's been a few games that have ended our European dream. This has absolutely 100% ended our European dream today, without a shadow of a doubt. If there was any remote chance of us getting back into Europe, it meant that we had to win today. And to get absolutely annihilated by Crystal Palace, that's it. We won't be in Europe next season. Chelsea have got, 3 games in hand over us. So we're not going to, they'll overtake us. And I dare say maybe 1 or 2 other teams might overtake us. We'll end up probably 8th, 9th, maybe even 10th in the league, and that'll be it. We're relying now on other teams. We're relying on Man City to win the cup, or we're relying on Man United to win the cup or whatever, in order for us to be, any chance of making us maybe a 7th or even 8th spot in Europe. But it won't happen. It won't happen. Today we really needed a result. We really needed a win. I can't pick out a player that was any worse than a player that was any good, to be honest with you. I just, I'm trying to work out. Areola was back on the bench. I don't understand why David Moyes didn't put Areola in goal. Not that it would have made much difference, but if David Moyes was true to his word, he would have a goalie for the league and a goalie for the cup, and Fabianski playing in goal. it was almost like David Moyes saying thank you to Fabianski for the performances that he put in over the last few weeks. But the right thing to do was to give Fabianski a rest and put Areola in. Would I have made any other changes? I would have started Bowen. I would have started Ben Johnson. I think when Ben Johnson came on, he looked half decent. But again, that wouldn't have necessarily made much of a difference. Did we have anything in attack to make a difference? You know, you expect Paqueta to come in after missing a game because of suspension and put in a performance. He was poor. His head is no longer at West Ham United, probably for a while now, but he was poor today. Emerson seems to follow suit with Paqueta. Emerson has been superb for us this season, and many would argue that he's, candidate for Hammer of the Year, but his performance today was also pretty poor. Alvarez, I don't know what you expect from Alvarez. He ran his socks off on Thursday, but he can't be expected to do it all by himself. So I think Alvarez was just knackered. You know, we needed something different there as well. Kudus tries too hard. I know it sounds weird, but he was trying to make things happen, but it just wasn't working for him. Kudus was snuffed out throughout the whole game, and and I think he was getting a bit frustrated. The more he was getting frustrated, the more he was trying, and the more it just wasn't working for him. Antonio up front, he's played one game too many. He was superb for us against Leverkusen on Thursday. But what did we expect from Antonio? This is where we now realise just how much our lack of depth. I don't know if this is the team bus. I'm not too sure. Don't know who's on it, but it made you realise that our lack of depth has been telling yet again. The fact that we do not. Crystal Palace have got more depth than we have. They were bringing subs on who were making a bit of a difference, and we don't have the depth. The depth that we had. In the start of the second half, Moyes brought Creswell on and Ben Johnson on. But what good's that going to do? We went with a three at the back and wing backs. Emerson and Soufal played as wing backs, but that made absolutely no difference whatsoever. That didn't impact the game at all. How we started off with a 4-2-3-1. So that was poor in itself. Our lack of depth has been telling. And then he brought, he made another couple of subs. He brought Ings on for Antonio later in the game. Ings doesn't play as a lone striker. So that wasn't going to make a difference. And he brought Phillips on for Alvarez, and Alvarez was absolutely knackered anyway. But again, no difference. It's poor. The lack of activity in the January window has been telling yet again, and we've suffered for it. We've yet again have seen a season. It's ironic because I was looking at the squad that we had 2 seasons ago when we got beat by Eintracht Frankfurt in the Europa League semi-finals, and the way we played in the league. And I would say that the squad that we've got today is meant to be better than the squad we had 2 years ago, and yet we went further 2 seasons ago than we did this season, and it's been absolutely terrible. If there's anything that David Moyes has done wrong, well, I'm sure fans will say there's plenty of things that he's done wrong, but not having added to the squad in January has been telling yet again. And I know everyone's blaming him for allowing Benrahma and Fornals to go. I keep hearing different stories. I keep hearing that Steiden allowed those players to go. I keep hearing that Sullivan made the final decision and sold them from under Moyes' feet. Apparently Moyes had no say, but who has the last answer on our squad and our transfers? Because we thought a couple of seasons ago that David Moyes was adamant that it was him that had last say. So who knows? Whatever. It's been telling. We have been poor this since January. I think a lot of fans would have said that was going to obviously happen because of our lack of squad depth. Our lack of squad depth has cost us severely, not only in Europe, but has cost us in the Premier League as well. And we will go next season without European football. It may well be a blessing in disguise. I guess we'll find out as to how next season goes. It doesn't matter who it be under, whether it be under David Moyes or whether it be under another manager or whatever. But lack of squad depth has cost us. Today's game, there's not one player I can pick out that I can honestly say was half decent today. No one put in a performance today. We've been found wanting yet again. And we've got 4 games left now, against Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City and Luton. We're not expecting anything, are we really? We'll probably finish 10th and that'll be about it.